welcome back to Total Spotfest. This is JJ Brownlee. That right there, that's Jamie Faulkner. We're coming at you. Happy St. Paddy's Day to everybody. Recording this, and neither one of us are wearing green, but happy St. Patrick's Day to those of you who partake. We also...
That's green.
Well, when we're recording this, it's still the 16th, so that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So we're both
because I have a green shirt I would wear every single St. Patrick's Day, and it says Lucky Shirt, and it has a 4-leaf clover on it. So and it's green, and I'll go wear it tomorrow.
Simple AF.
See this today.
But we do want to wish you a happy St. Paddy's Day, and in our world, wish you a very happy Stone Cold Day as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
So this is the day that kicks the most ass and stomps mud holes through everybody's face. So thank you.
Walks them dry.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. Once again, if you're on YouTube, comment down below, join the conversation. If you're listening to us, give us a tweet at Total Spotfest. If you are watching us, hit the like button. It does help us out with algorithms and YouTube things and all that jazz. We truly do appreciate it. But thank you for joining us. So, how was your Stone Cold Day, Jamie? I know I know work was busy for you, but other than that,
it was okay. I didn't get to have 1 beer. 2 beers, 3 beers, shot of whiskey, a Bloody Mary. Didn't get to have any of those.
Well, was it even really Stone Cold Day then?
No, not really. Not really at all. I mean, other than it was Stone Cold and the fact that it had no emotion, just really wanted to try.
Just really want to try. Well, okay. I blame the former all-time Total Spotfest pick champion, because she forced you away from any libations to make you drive her all over the metro for her sporting event stuff. So it's all your fault, Megan. It's all your fault.
She's coming off the injury list, so she's on her rehab assignment right now, if you will, if you're a baseball fan. So hopefully the goal is that she'll be live and be actually on the field for the very first tournament and the first weekend of April. So
well, there you go.
She's pain-free. She's sore today, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want to hear. She hasn't used it, so it's just sore. It doesn't hurt. And it's yeah.
No shooting sharpness or anything like that. So, well, that's
negative.
Good. Fantastic. And elsewhere, we want to welcome everybody for taking a break from watching all the trackers for NFL free agency combined with Major League Baseball free agency. Isn't it all at the same breath? It's like, Twitter feed is like wrestling. Now it's all like linebacker, quarterback, pitcher, boom, 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 boom. It's like, whoa.
I know. I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, so Russell Wilson officially got traded today and all this stuff. And next thing you know, Royal signs Zach Greinke. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Zach Greinke's back with the Royals. Chris Bryant signed a $200 million contract with the Rockies.
Overpriced.
The Mets are acting like they're the big boys of New York, spending money like it's going out of style. I don't know if anybody out there is baseball fans. If you are, let us know. But we both are. It's very interesting. So.
Titans released Julio Jones, which actually Megan took a chance to tell her Titan-loving boyfriend about it because he was at work, and it was really great.
Okay, so let's back up here a second, okay? So the rest of the world can understand the pain that JJ's lived in for the past, 7 years.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend is a Titans fan, which, as a non-Chiefs fan, Kansas City, I can empathize with a little bit.
We're dicks.
He's
dicks.
You are. It's okay. It's cyclical. When you guys suck again, I'll remind you very much so. So Titans. So she calls him up while he's at work to let him know that their franchise, would-be franchise, or top number 1 draft pick from the past, Julio Jones, was released.
Yeah. Only after 1 season too. She's like, oh, you remember how?
Wow.
She was talking to. And Megan and
well, she's your daughter, for God's sake.
Yeah, so she took him on a journey with it too. She's like, "Hey, did you hear the news?" And it's like, "Oh man, big news out of the Titans. He's like, oh yeah, we signed somebody. I'm like, no, you released the one guy that you told me that is the best receiver of all time, and he'll never leave the Titans. Yeah, they released Julio Jones, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Wow, just.
It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty.
So for those of you wonder why JJ has this like pseudo rivalry with a freaking sophomore in high school, that's why. That's why this picture, which is thankfully glared out here, of her holding all 4 belts signed by her. That's JJ's experienced that firsthand. Like I said, for the past 7 years, it's about how long we've been doing these picks together and stuff. Maybe yes. So I feel that's good. Well. Free agency aside, because that's what free agency is. The rest of the wrestling world is actually pretty quiet with what's going on. They're doing a lot of build up for big story.
There was one free agent.
Okay, well, there was one free agent thing that got signed, but I mean, a lot of news hasn't really been going on a lot because everybody's kind of gearing up for that WrestleMania week. GCW's got like 1,800 shows planned, and so many stuff. And, Glory Pro and AAW. And also, anyway, a lot of that's coming. There was actually a big talent announcement, though, that was made. Jamie, what was that?
So, one of NXT's OG NXT, I guess, the end of OG NXT, biggest signings was Killer Cross towards the end. And he became Karrion Kross, for all those who aren't aware, and he had the worst entrance of all time, but people seem to love it, and I wasn't one of them, but I digress. He is now officially going to have his first ever match in New Japan against none other than the typical welcoming party of New Japan, Minoru Suzuki.
Minoru feels like he's been doing just like a bucket list of who he wants to wrestle. He's wrestling Effie at Joey Janela's Spring Break. I mean, he's just going through it all. So, of course, that's his first opponent in New Japan. But I think it's fantastic. I think he fits well with the New Japan product. I really do.
I do too. He fits their mold very well.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Scarlett over there. Actually, no, I'm not. Never mind. Because she just does the valet thing. They play to her strengths.
Right. If she's actually involved with it too, because she's been doing her own stuff as well, non-wrestling things. She's been doing modeling and other things like that. Which, of course, she's a beautiful woman and everything. And so, I mean, he doesn't. I mean, they're married or they're engaged, I know.
Engaged, yes.
They're close enough to married. It's interesting because it's like you see him, all his personas and stuff, and then if you check him out like real life, like he has a Twitch channel, and it's all about like he's like a nutritional coach, right? Talk about micronutrients and muscle groups and all this like little like weird like such a like nerdy physical fitness thing. And apparently he's just like the calmest, nicest guy, right? With total gentleman to her and all this stuff. And you see him in the ring, and it's just like he's got the big like marine tattoo, and just like juxtaposition. It's funny. Anyway, if she goes, she does it, whatever. But he's going to be good there. There's another piece of news that we do need to talk about before we get anything else. So, not to bury the lead here, but probably the biggest news that's happened for a while. It's not good news. It's sad, but a few days ago, the original bad guy that had been through hell, had came back, thanks to Diamond Dallas Page and others, had, resurgent in his life recently. A man who didn't get any, I have yet to hear heat about him, like real heat about him. Yeah. The original bad guy, the outsider, Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, did indeed pass away. He is having some sort of procedure, something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, so he had like a hip replacement, and then had
as a joint
or shoulder. Yeah, it was something like that. And then next thing you know, he had 3 heart attacks.
3 massive heart attacks while on the table, and it's just
it's terrible.
I mean, So rest in peace, Scott Hall.
Yeah, and Scott, for me, Scott Hall is a big part of my wrestling history.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
I was really big into old school WWF, and as a young kid, obviously you love the faces and you hated the heels, right?
That's the way you're supposed to, right? Sergeant Slaughter sucks, right? But Hulk Hogan's cool,
Yeah. Until Sergeant Slaughter's cool again, and then oh, we don't like Brutus the Barber Beefcake, whatever.
Right.
But with him, with the Razor Ramon character, and he's the one who did it for me. I will have to give him credit. Like, it was because of him, I really believe I fell in love with the character of Shawn Michaels, because he made being a bad guy cool.
Yeah.
And for anybody this is the first time you're ever listening to this podcast, I'm a heel guy. I like bad guys. Like, I am not a big face guy whatsoever. Like, they're cool. Like, I'm fine with them, but I really dig into like the heel personas of people. Like, that just tickles my fancy, if you will, trips my trigger, whatever you want to say. But the thing is, like, he made it so cool to be a bad guy. I'm like, man, that is so awesome. When I was young and impressionable, like, I just gravitated towards that. And then, here's D-Generation X. So you're a bunch of bad guys being good. Like, they did
NWO, which he was in. Yeah. He started,
Well, I think a big piece.
And I think that if you look back in the annals of wrestling history, right? You had those guys that kind of crossed over. I think before that, Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen. That was just kind of its own sort of entity, right?
Yeah.
They were definitely the bad guys, but not. It was in a very different limelight, right? So you take that out, and pretty much everywhere you go is very clearly defined, right? And even the way they started to introduce the Razor Ramon character into the thing, they had all these vignettes, and he is this Cuban guy from Miami. He wasn't really Cuban. Spoiler. Okay, I'm breaking kayfabe on you guys here.
At all.
Like, not even close. But he could look the part. Irish. He's an actor. So, like Stu says, I'm an actor. And love me some Stu Grayson. Stu.
He needs to get well.
He does. He's working on it. So he did all these little vignettes, which they always did. They did it, for Mr. Perfect. They did it, around that time. That's how they introduced somebody, because you didn't have the internet like you had now, right? You had a big weekly show and a couple other little side project shows, and that was it. Live shows here and there, but that's how you portrayed and got your storylines across. So they had all these little vignettes going on, and I think, truthfully, it took them by surprise that people were really into Razor Ramon when he came in, because they're like, you're not supposed to like him this much. What are you guys doing? And it was right at that time. So it was early 90s into the mid 90s, right before the whole Monday Night Wars, which is really what redefined wrestling, created that anti-face thing, right?
The tweener.
The tweener. Stone Cold, right? And yeah, right. All those that, bad guys, but not bad guys, but bad guy, but so I think if it wasn't for Scott Hall, I don't know if that would have happened in the way that it did. So, he was, and I remember my dad hated Scott Razor Ramon. He's like, who is this just slick back, just he just saw me, he's like, this guy thinks he's Scarface,
Tony Montana.
Tony Montana, thank you. This guy thinks he's Tony Montana out there. What is it? He thought it was the just worst thing ever. He hated it, because I'd always watch it and on. But that's what you're supposed to get from a heel. But no, people loved him, and I think that, especially too, because we talked about this. We actually recorded an interview recently, right after it happened here. So be on the lookout. By the way, we got an interview coming next week. We do a little bit of talk about Scott Hall on there, but I was real big into that era of WWF, and then got into high school and kind of, it went away, hit puberty and found girls, and all of a sudden wrestling didn't matter as much, right? And then in the middle 90s, that's when it came back, because you had WCW, NW, the Monday Night Wars, and NWO, and that just struck a bell with me. And who formed NWO? Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. And I don't know.
Outsiders.
Loved the Outsiders. I mean, I even stuck with them too when they went split. I'm like Wolfpack guy, because that's where the Outsiders are. I was Wolfpack for sure. So,
red and black are my favorite colors. So.
It worked well. I tried to find. I have a Wolfpack shirt in a box somewhere, and I cannot find it. So I might not have it still.
I have a red and black NWO shirt. Probably down at the Lake of the Ozarks at my dad's house, and a size that I don't fit in anymore.
I'm sure I don't fit into it anymore either, because I was a very svelte, same height, but very skinny back in high school. So, all right, we'll see. Whatever. Also, though, perhaps the part that I thought you were going to first gravitate to, but I know is definitely on your mind, was we have been very clear. And if this is your first time listening to us, we'll reiterate for everybody else here. You know this, but Jamie preferred wrestling match to watch is very much that kind of that long, technical, strong style. He likes the technicality of it. JJ's a spot monkey who just likes flippy, spinny shit all day, every day. Give me nonstop go ridiculousness. And he's a very crucial in the annals of wrestling as well, because of a groundbreaking match he had with your favorite wrestler at WrestleMania 10. The first known official, because it probably was somewhere at some point in time, but first known official, definitely first in WWF ladder match.
This is one of the greatest matches of all time.
It holds up. It does.
and the thing is, if somebody wants to challenge me on that, fight me, because you will lose. That match was arguably, one is, as you said, groundbreaking. It had everything, and it propelled Shawn Michaels into superstardom.
Shawn Michaels was 100% mid-carder at that time.
Yeah, and Scott Hall, Razor Ramon put him over. And that was one of the things too. Like, a lot of guys have always talked about how Scott was never afraid to put somebody over. Like, Chris Jericho talked about this a while back, where Bischoff, I guess, reamed his ass about Scott putting him over. Like, they were having a match, and Scott's like, just do your fish, who cares? Like, because they were gonna do like a schoolboy. He's like, no, if you're gonna win, you're gonna win. Like, and it's like, it's things like that. Like, he was great for the business. He was, was he out for himself? Obviously.
Everybody is. But
he's more out for his demons than anything else. And
he had a lot
he got
of that.
clean. And the thing is, everybody should remember him for something. If it is the bad guy, survey time, ayo. Whatever it may be, like, he should have a place in every wrestling fan's heart. And he should be remembered for all the great things he did in that ring and for the business, for sure.
100%. So, those are just a few. We could spend a lot of time, because this one definitely came close to both of us, because Scott Hall was.
I was teared up about it. That's the weird thing.
When I read Kevin Nash's thing, because he was with the family at the end, that was tough. That was tough, especially because it's been I think it'll be 4 years, 3.5 years, 4 years this fall. I don't remember, but I want to say it's 3 or 3. I think it's 4 years. Now, this is my mom passed, and we had to do the same thing and decide to take her off of life support. And it was, when I read that, I'm just like, I knew exactly where they were, and I'm just like, I've been there, man. That's the worst part, because it's almost worse, so I felt really bad. And Waltman took it very hard, of course. Waltman owes everything career-wise to it. It was his idea, Scott Hall, to have the 1-2-3 Kid win.
Yeah.
from what I had read in the past, Vince just thought it was the stupidest thing. He's like, why would I have him beat you? He's like, we'll give him a shot, but not again. He's like, no, he beat me. He can pin me fast. Do it, squash. It was all Scott's idea. That's his buddy. So give us some of your thoughts now. Give us a tweet or give us a comment down below. Give us a shout. Let us know. What were some of your favorite Scott Hall things? I still have "Hey Yo" as my my alert tone for when I ever get text messages. That's how much he went to me. So, rest in peace, Scott. No more hurt. So, kind of walking out and
yeah, dude.
So good.
Yeah,
so good. It's hard to do sitting down here with this fat boy, but all right. So we'll miss you, Scott, but you'll be remembered forever. Definitely. Your legacy is felt. Let's talk about a little bit more about some more positive stuff, because the New Japan Cup has been rolling along. I saw some great little clips, and I actually caught one of the match. I think it was Show's match. I don't know. It was a ridiculously flippy, spinny match, but New Japan Cup's been trucking along. I think they're on round 3. Is that right, Jamie, now? They're ready for round 3?
Yeah, round 2 just finished up.
Okay.
And there were it's so weird too, because like they have some cup matches and they have the other guys who are in the cup have matches as well. So it's very confusing.
I know. It's odd.
So it's hard to keep track. I apologize. So I'm just going to give you some highlights of people that you may know.
We diligently looked like through sources all over before we started recording, because I was like, I can't find the results, and I was just the language barrier because everything's. But trying to get it from New Japan was anyway. It's tough.
Yeah, like perfect example. So Will Ospreay and Jeff Cobb are in it, and Great O'Khan and Taji Ishimori and Bad Luck Fale are all in this tournament, right?
Sure.
Well, they have a 6-man tag. Like while during this whole thing, it's like what?
Because why not?
And somehow Jeff Cobb and Will Ospreay are on the opposite side of this 6-man. It's like that does not make any sense for me, because I thought they were together and
they're just pulling names out of a hat.
I guess, dude. I don't know. But anyway, so let's just go ahead and talk about
let's talk about the tournament itself, because that's the important stuff.
Okay, so out of the second round, we won't talk about the first round. Second round, Chase Owens defeated Tiger Mask.
Mm-hmm.
This version of the Tiger Mask, obviously. Shingo Takagi, he beat Tonga Loa, which kind of makes sense with the whole Bullet Club shenanigans. Then Evil beat Tama Tonga, which again, Bullet Club shenanigans. Hiromi Takahashi defeated Minoru Suzuki. Okay. And those were the ones that I had out there, but the next round, oh my goodness. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Tetsuya Naito.
Nice.
Jeff Cobb versus Yoshihashi. That should be a fun match. Hiromi Takahashi versus Evil. Hiroki Goto versus Sema. Okada versus Taichi.
Yeah.
And then you have Shingo Takagi versus Chase Owens, Sonata versus Will Ospreay, and then you round out the third round with Great O'Khan versus Zack Sabre Jr. Fun.
Wow. Yes. Let's go. Let's effing go. I think it was the Zack Sabre Jr. and Show, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But I caught that, and I went through I saw a Japanese broadcast of like half the match, and it was just nothing but just spots. It was so good wrestling in Japan. Now,
lots of good wrestling in Japan.
We're going to talk about now. I know you have numbers in front of you, right?
I do. I really do.
You're welcome. I didn't actually read this, but I saw a headline that said that the Axis broadcast of the New Japan this past week got its like lowest rating ever. I didn't see what it was, but I don't think they're hitting big numbers with that. But I don't know if they really don't really care if they do or not. The fact that it's just there is the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about what were the numbers from this past week, Jamie.
So last week it was late week heavy, This
Right.
week it was front end heavy, and then everything else dipped. Like this was basically a losing week for everybody, other than 2 shows, and 1 show was like barely. So we'll start out with the barely, and we'll go with the flagship, former flagship, Monday Night Raw. It went up from 1.753 million to 1.775 million.
Congratulations. Probably all people looking for Cody Rhodes.
100%. Everybody's looking for Cody Rhodes.
I watched
Cody Rhodes.
I watched half of it this past week because I thought for sure Cody was going to be there. So I watched the end of it. And to be fair, it's not that terrible. It's about the same as it was before, though. I mean, it's very predictable. The matches are you get a little bit of goodness every here and there, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. NXT was up. So NXT has been doing this. They have 1 strong, 1 bad, 1 strong, 1 bad, 1 strong, 1 bad, then 1 bad, 1 bad, then 4 bad, then they're back strong again. So they're in the flux right now. So they went from 551 to 613, which the previous week when they were at 551, they were at 612. So like literally like 551, 612, 551. Then 551 to 613. Like they just wishy-washy.
I did see this afternoon this week's numbers. I saw that come across my feed, and they did go up slightly again this week too. So
there you go.
And they actually had I do want to say this. I did catch a little bit because I will always watch an Io Shirai match because she's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah.
Period. And she's teaming with Kylie Ray, and it was against the team that I've been big on in the past, of Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter. It was part of the Women's Dusty Cup match. And it was really good. It was fucking excellent. It actually really was. Casey has really improved her shit, by the way. She's really improved her stuff. They did this kind of like springboard. She did like this like springboard off the ropes into a reverse Spike Rana Doomsday device. I know.
Sounds amazing.
Kaden had Kaylee Ray on her shoulders, and Casey goes up and jumps off the ropes and flings herself over the top of Kaylee Ray, grabs her with her legs and her knees and flips her down, lands her on her head as a spike rock. I was like, that's insane.
Wow,
that's impressive. Know she busted up her face, during the match as well, but it was actually so. For what it's worth, there's still some good stuff on NXT. Just I don't like.
Was that before or after the makeout fight, where the two couples were doing a makeout off?
Oh, I didn't see that. I have no idea when that was.
It's all over the Twitters, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I don't watch this anymore.
I did see that one of the girls that I really liked that was on the pandemic era of AEW, just because of her expressibility, Tasha Price. She's now Felon Honey, or I don't know, Felon something or another. She apparently has like a faction now of people, it's like a couple dudes behind. Anyway, I don't know. I caught like some other clips, but I purposely looked down and watched that match because I love Io Shirai, and that match was worth it. So they still got good matches occasionally on NXT for what it's worth. Just the overall package is meh for me.
Yeah. Moving on to Dynamite. Dynamite dipped a little, but again, it was a dip, which is kind of weird, especially a post-Revolution. I figured it would have had a lot more buzz, especially after the CM Punk match.
Oh, yeah.
Which I still am.
I feel like last week's, though, was a little bit of very much a exhale night in total. Last night's wasn't. No, spoiler alert.
No. It was like a build to the next show to see the St. Patrick's Slam.
That's what they're doing. I mean, they got these big St. Patrick's Slam, and then next Friday they've got Battle of the Belts too, or whatever. So it's like, yeah.
So AEW went from 966 to 945. So a little dip, but still, I mean, I get it. I guess. It had Jeff Hardy show up too, so that's just, I don't know. I thought it was a good show. I thought it was. like we knew what kind of show we're expecting. I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we've talked ad nauseum about the bar, and you can't if the bar's up here, you're never going to hit every time, and they did a lot of setup, so it's fine. That's fine. That's not bad. I think the demo was up pretty good though, wasn't it? Was it number one for the night?
Yeah, their demo was number one.
That was like 0.4 or something, I thought.
Yeah, so a lot of youngers were on there,
which is good.
And I feel like that's going to continue. So the big loser for me, even though it's statistically not the biggest, but it is the biggest, like percentile wise, was freaking Impact. Impact took it in the pants, man.
Took it hard.
They went from 131 to 94.
Yeah, it's the first time they've been under 100 in over a month. And,
yeah, it's been a while.
And the show itself it wasn't like amazing. I think this week's show is going to be a lot better. You had Josh Alexander make his appearance return. They opened the show, right? Confronted by the Iron No More guys, and Eddie Edwards, and I'm Matt Taven. Oh, I hate that. I hate him so much. I do not like Matt Taven.
Are you saying you don't like him?
At all. I have told you this, but I want to tell the world this, that I have the same feeling towards Matt Taven that Jamie has for Jake something. And the same reason I dislike Matt Taven is the exact same reason pretty much that Jamie dislikes Jake something. Wrestler, you're a great wrestler. Can't stand you, bro. He is a bro. But anyway, so they had some of that. They had more setup and stuff. They're definitely starting to kind of put pieces in motion to get everything aligned for Rebellion, which is their next big. It's one of their big 4 pay-per-views, and that's coming up. Surprise, surprise, in April, right? So. They didn't have a lot really digging into like the women. They kind of had this big 8-woman tag. They did a few other things here and there. They had a qualifier for the X Division. It's going to be a triple threat match. Ace Austin's going on to Rebellion. The main event was Rich Swann versus Eddie Edwards because they're just beating that dead horse. For me, the highlight of the night was the promise of what we're getting this week, tonight, which is because the Bullet Club came out and they did a little State of the Bullet Club thing, right? Because the Good Brothers lost their tag titles, but they're fighting, and this is interesting too. I talked about it briefly last week to you, but during WrestleMania week, so the 1st of April, Impact's doing a double show. So they're doing another one of those Impact Provincial Wrestling Alliance, like old school mock shows that they've done 2 of them before, where it's basically like Mid-South from the 80s, but it's all themed. So they're actually doing one of those shows live. And the other show is the what are they calling it? They're calling it the Multiverse of Matches is their live show.
That's what you told me. Yeah.
So one of the matches, and they got a bunch of good stuff on there. Bunch of good stuff. One of them is the Good Brothers versus the Briscoes for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. So they had the Bullet Club come out and they were talking about that, and Jay White was they're pumping up for that match as well. And then Alex Shelley comes out, and him and Jay have a nice back and forth kind of promo war at each other. And then Chris Bay's all like, "You're for somebody who talks so well, you must be the stupidest SOB in here because you're sitting there talking all this shit and you're all alone." He goes, "Oh, I think everybody knows if I'm in Impact Wrestling, I'm never alone." Here comes Chris Sabin. And next week we get Jay White and Chris Bay versus the Motor City Machine Guns.
That's awesome.
So there was other little things here and there, some other stuff happened, but that's pretty much for me. That's the big thing. Okay, this is fine, but next week's the week I want to watch for sure. And they're opening Impact with that match, which tells me they're going to let it run, because usually if they don't know how long the match is going to run, they'll put it at the beginning so they don't have any time crunches near the end, right?
That makes the most sense.
Let's go.
So let's move on to SmackDown, the true flagship of WWE right now. And it was down. We did not acknowledge it. It was from 2.261 to 2.226. So 25,000. A little bit.
A little bit. This coming week will be very interesting to see the Friday night shows, specifically because we'll talk about Rampage and I'll finish my thought.
All right, then Rampage was down slightly as well. So I mean, there was not big dips. I expect Rampage to just get absolutely obliterated because of the tournament coming up. But Rampage was 545 and it went down to 526.
Okay, I mean,
so over 500.
It was the debut of Swerve. Swerve versus Tony Nese was a very enjoyable match. Swerve won. You had Keith Lee was on there. Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Martinez put in a good match. Really enjoyed that. And Darby and Mark was, they were all quality matches, but nothing was like, other than like the debut of Swerve, which I hate to even put it this way because I really do like Tony Nese. I really do. I think he's very generic though. And I think
yes, he's Lance Storm.
Absolutely, skill out the wazoo, but needs a better character or a faction or something. Because he deserves. Well, you can hide a personality if you put him in the right faction, right? Yeah. See also Virgil. It can be done, But this week's going to really, like you said. So for those of you, if you have not heard the news, here, remove that rock, come out, and let me tell you that this week starts the NCAA tournament today. As a matter of fact, as you're listening to it, I'm sure you have another screen that is showing a basketball game probably right now, and it's I have so many calls today, tomorrow as I'm recording this. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not going to see any basketball till like 7:00. So it's going to, anyway, but I'm interested to see because TNT Warner Media is hosting the tournament, right? Up until the Final Four. So, Rampage is going to be on whenever the basketball games are over, tentatively 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central next Friday. I'm interested to see, though, what SmackDown does because Fox doesn't have college basketball games on. But depending on what games are running, I think that may impact SmackDown's viewership. I don't know, I may be wrong. It might not have a damn bit of difference. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out.
All right, so that was the week that was. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did there. I just go for a thing, right? Okay, maybe I'm trying to get a new. I'm trying to get a new moniker. Who knows? But well, let's talk about St. Patrick's Day. I want to say St. Patty's Day. St. Patrick's Day Slam. Dynamite from last night. Two very, very, very big moments. Okay, one mega massive moment, two big moments, and a bunch of good stuff along with it. Jamie, let's run through Dynamite.
So this card, top to bottom, was solid as a rock.
Absolutely.
It was very, very well done. I liked all the promos. Like, I was trying to think, like, is there anything I could nitpick and be like that just sucked? And I'm struggling to find anything. Like, because
I have that guy. If I have to, I have one thing I would single out. That was just that was kind of the whole Keith Lee little promos they did. A couple of them here and there. He's feuding with Team Taz. Okay, cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing I did like about that is because, Keith Lee's going against Max Caster. And that whole thing was hilarious because then, Team FTW comes up and starts talking to him. Swerve comes up and goes, and they start talking, and Swerve walks off, and Max Caster goes, "Hey, isn't he a rapper?" I'm like, oh my god,
that was interesting. But all top to bottom, real good. There was 5 matches, and they were you only had 5 matches for very good reason because of the main event. Absolutely, we know this, right? But yeah. All go, no filler. They were all very good matches.
Yeah, so the very first match, they open with this match of a trios match. Adam Cole and Red Dragon, or what I like to call the Elite Era, going against Hangman, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, artists formerly known as Jurassic Express. Said it the first time. Let's go.
It's a St. Patrick's Day miracle.
It is. Evil shenanigans. So Adam Cole and Red Dragon got the dub there. We'll go through that. And then there's your little. Right after that was the Powerhouse Hobbs Ricky Stark thing. Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson going against Wheeler Yuta and Chuck Taylor. I do want to talk about this match a lot.
Let's talk about this because I definitely want to save. We're saving the main event for the end of everything here. So let's just kind of go through these quickly as we go along because I want to save plenty of time to talk about the main event. So let's talk about this real fast.
So Bryan Danielson and Moxley win, but I gotta say, you and I have been on the same page about
very critical about him. Because he's a legitimate part of the LA dojo for New Japan. He's feud with TJP. He's a not a big fucking deal, but he's a good sized deal in New Japan, and he just jobs all the time over here. And we're like, what the fuck is up with this guy? Yeah, not last night.
Oh my god! We've been clamoring for this Wheeler Yuta. And we got him. And hell, Chuck Taylor had a great match too. Chucky T.
The crowd was amazing. First of all, did you? I don't know how much you heard because you were at practice and on your phone, whatever. But did you hear William Regal on commentary?
Oh yeah.
He refers to he said it was great to be here. Of course, Tony, love you, and of course, Mr. Ross. Same sort of thing. And then he goes over and he goes, Mr. Man in the Mask, you've done nothing for me.
Yeah,
and so he doesn't call him Excalibur once. It's always Mr. Man in the Mask. When the best friends come out with Wheeler and Chuck, he goes, Mr. Man in the Mask. He goes, who is the demon waif? Talking about Danhausen.
He's so good.
I love you, William Regal. Really Thank you for being in AEW.
Yes. So this match had everything I wanted, but the thing that happened right after the match, because Bryan Danielson called out Wheeler Yuta being a part of their group, right? And
or being one of the young talents that need better guidance, right?
Needs better guidance. So after the match, Wheeler Yuta is actually the one who tapped out, and he's walking back, and the best friends are consoling him and everything. He stops and he turns around, he walks in that ring, and he sticks his hand out to William Regal to shake his hand. And what does William Regal do to repay him? Bitch slaps the hell out of him. That was whack. I'm like, damn.
Then berates him. It's you better rethink what you're doing right now, young man.
Yeah, but the thing was, he fired around. As soon as he got hit in the face, Wheeler Yuta snaps his head back and looks at him. But it also calls back to the commentary that William Regal had as well, because he said that he wanted those guys seemed like they wanted to hit you after you slapped. He's like, that's why I want somebody who wants to hit me. When I slap you like that, I want to see the fire in your eyes and all this. And then as soon as he saw him come back, he grinned, and then he just started okay, now run along, young man, run along. You don't want to be in here too long,
right?
Planting those seeds that
he's going to be part of this whole violence. The Violence Academy, or whatever the fuck they're gonna call it. I am for
Hopefully it's Violent Gentlemen, and they figure something out with that.
With the Violent Gentlemen and Clothing Company, please, if half of my wardrobe becomes canon, then of course all my wardrobe's canon now. So yes, please do that. I loved it. I thought it was great. This crowd, sellout crowd, of course. San Antonio Thunder Rosa's in the main event. But they were really behind Wheeler. They got behind him because of this match. Chanting. I've not heard Wheeler chants in AEW, and we did tonight, and I'm all for it.
That crowd was hot. H-O-T, hot.
They were
all night.
They were on all night long. So kudos, Wheeler, and we'll see where this transpires. But I love this trio pairing no matter what. It's Moxley, Danielson, and Regal is everybody's violent wet dream. So
yes, 100%.
That's what they could call their thing. All right, tell me if you guys think violent wet dream. Give me Violent Wet Dream. Let's go. All right, moving on.
No. So then the Jazz come out, or Jazz, if you will, the Jericho Appreciation Society come out. It was good. It was actually a great promo.
It was better than what I was expecting to get out of it.
They may have the shittiest name in all professional wrestling, but man, they all cut decent promos every last one. Even Daniel Garcia, ladies and gentlemen, he can speak.
Well, and the moral of the story with this whole thing here, because yes, it's a terrible name, okay, but they backed it up with purpose. So that's what I like here. And lots of parallels, because just like before, he, where he said that, we the people was a shit gimmick from Bad Creative, right? Well, the 2.0 is a shit name from Bad Creative. So there's lots of parallels, but his big thing is that, no more hiding, no more this, I deserve my annals, and these guys are the ones who deserve me. And he did very endearing stories about each of them, about how, because Daniel Garcia was in a car wreck and he broke his leg in like 8 places, and he sent money to him, this guy who he didn't even know, just because he was, young up and coming wrestler. He wanted to help out, so he sent him when nobody else would. And that's why he appreciates Jericho. And 2.0, they were, his best friend Kev gave him a call, which I love the throwback, which gets pointed in a second here, especially. But he gave him a call and said, these two great guys here, they just got released. They weren't really given a shot, blah, blah, blah. And that's where I met with them, and we did the podcast, and we came in here, and I got them into AEW and all this stuff. And that's why they appreciate Jericho. And they're now going by their real names, which I don't know whether they're shoot names or not. So I don't know if it was 100% what their real names are, but I think it was. It felt like it.
Angelo's his real name. Yeah, Angelo Parker is his real name. I remember the first one, but it's definitely Angelo.
And the first, Matt is his name, but it's Matt something else. It begins with an M. But anyway, so they're no longer 2.0. They're no longer Matt and Jeff. They're going by their actual name, and of course, because Hager's been with him side by side, buddy, all this stuff forever. Cool, right? And then he goes, here's the thing. All these people in the back, they want to be professional wrestlers. And I am not a professional wrestler. I am a sports entertainer. And Daniel Garcia says, my name is Daniel Garcia, and I am a sports entertainer. So they're playing into all these tropes here with the thing. So the name, is it terrible? Yes. But I'm much more happy with it now that I've gotten this out of it. We're going to get the arrogant heel Jericho, which is my favorite. Which is a great Jericho. It is.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite. WCW Jericho. That's my favorite.
Yep.
Jerichoholic for life. But anyway, so before we move on, I will say this. I am not a pro podcaster. I am not. I am a talking entertainer. You're welcome.
We're moving swiftly on there. All
right, swiftly on to Wardlow and Scorpio Sky for the TNT Championship, which love the fact that Scorpio only wore one belt, but I actually love
you like how he gave the other one to Dan Lambert.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. Just made fun of it. I'm like, yes, thank you.
And I don't know if because they're kind of teasing a minute of the year break. I don't know if that's for sure, if he just wasn't there, or it just was the way it worked out. He wasn't there. Okay. I don't know if this is true or not. I have nothing to base this off of, but he actually might be moving as we speak.
Oh, he is.
Oh, he is. Yeah, okay, so that is why he wasn't there. Okay.
He's moving to the U.S.
We know he's moving to the U.S., but
well, they said he could start taking bookies in April. So
he's probably moving right now. Then, yeah, that makes sense because he's got to get settled, get the kids and wife, all that stuff. So okay, that makes sense. Okay, so that's why he wasn't there. But okay, but it did have Paige and Paige's real life husband, who I can't remember fucker's name, some MMA guy with a bunch of tattoos. He's fine. He's whatever, But they were there along with Scorpio.
Yeah, and this match was a good match. It was good to see Wardlow sell. But I will say, for the record, Mark Stradamus strikes again 100%. As soon as I saw the brass ring and I saw everything, I'm like, he is not winning today.
We
And
both
MJF's gonna
said
cost
that,
him.
to be fair. We both were on that, so he did. And Sean Spears came out, caused a distraction, and out from the crowd, here comes MJF, throws him into the ring post, bangs his head. Wardlow, he started this. Okay, so this is what I like. That Wardlow against CM Punk, Wardlow against Scorpio Sky, two guys who are definitely more seasoned wrestlers, right, than he is. Especially CM Punk, have shown that Wardlow can hold a match. He's not just a big Hulk, bam, bam, 1, 2, 3 win, right? Which is what most of his matches are, because that's the character, that's the story that they're doing. But he showed here, he was taking to your argument. He was selling as well. He kept selling because during the break, they were working on his midsection and his thigh and all this stuff, and he sold it very well, but he still got in his bits in it. So I'm very happy with Wardlow's progression. I very much am.
Me too. And this officially sets up the MJF versus Wardlow feud. We're going to see if other people come out to assist Wardlow. I'm assuming CM Punk will come in the fold here.
I hope not. I hope not. I
kind of do, but I kind of don't. I want him to have somebody.
I don't disagree with you. I don't think it's bad if he has some sort of ally. I think they need to move CM Punk along into something else, just because because I feel if he
they give Wardlow the CM Punk rep,
could be
it right now.
I don't think he needs it, to be fair. And CM Punk, the dog collar match was such a definitive ending to the MJF thing, right? That's my problem. If you bring him in to help out, you're undoing that masterpiece they did with, the AFI and the Ring of Honor gear and, the blood and just the motion and everything. I foresee a Trials of Jericho type situation for Wardlow ahead, right? It's one of those things. He's going to have to go through everything to get to MJF, right? And
maybe they give him Tully.
I could take that. That's actually they had the FTR did a promo where they were talking about how Tully was with them and helped them get the titles, and then when they lost the titles, he just checked out, and that's why they fired him, right? They were, of course, met by the Young Bucks, so we know that that's coming very soon, which, again, if you're a fan of wrestling, please, yes, again, for sure, but please. But I like that, because Tully, in a way, is on the outs with the Pinnacle as well. And if you say he needs somebody with him to guide him, how about a manager, one of the best of all time? I'm good with that. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So after this, Jade Cargill, she calls out whoever. We'll see.
The other women's stuff was a little light. They had just promos. So they had Jade Cargill promo to nobody. It's
Serena Deeb's.
Serena Deeb's. I like Serena Deeb's promo though. I like Serena Deeb, and I do want to say I did call Serena, but that's all we had for women. We didn't have any other ones other than the main event. So there was no. There was a Statlander. There was a weird Statlander promo too.
Yeah, she took out her.
She's removing them, so it's like, yeah. But anyway, so you have stuff going on with the women, but you didn't really have anything else. You didn't have any other matches. There was a lot of women's matches on Dark and Dark Elevation, but you had no Diamante, you had no Nyla Rose, you had no Ruby Soho. Hey, Ruby. So maybe we'll see what happens.
So after this, you have Private Party going against the debuting on Dynamite, first time ever, the Hardys, not Hardy Boys, the Hardys, because the Boys is owned by the Dubs.
Close enough.
Coming out to their music, everything. You got everything you wanted. Actually, this is a great match on both sides. You got Mark Quinn, doing Mark Quinn things. You had it all. Isaiah doing his scream. Mm-hmm. Of course, you know who's winning this one is none other than the Hardys.
The Hardys.
Then they get surrounded by the AFO. Now instead of the HFO, it's just the AFO. Whatever.
Which is fine.
Sting and Darby come out to give him a give them a little help. So I guess they're helping now.
Well, that's the way they're going to kind of run. It keeps everybody involved. It is what it is. I definitely saw that Jeff doesn't look like he's wrestled much since he was let go. He looked a little winded. So he's got to get his cardio back up. You know, it definitely looked like he was getting a little winded, which is fine. It's understandable. It's okay. I'm not going to. Yeah. We're two big boys. Trust me. If we were trying to get out there and do that, we'd be winded too. So it's fine. I do like Private Party as Private Party, though, not Private Party as Hardy Stooges. So I'm happy for that as well.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's Private Party. I love this theme. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan.
Shots.
All right. So before we talk about the main event, I'd like to pivot back to the very first match because we did not really get into this one of the Adam Cole Red Dragon versus Hangman Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Sure.
Excellent match.
Very
excellent match.
Like you expect it to be.
Yeah, like it had everything. You had that stare down between Paige and Cole, and the crowd was all in it. Mm-hmm. Like this had everything. It had a double Doomsday device, which I thought was really cool. By Lucha Express, whatever Jungle.
Jurassic Express. See, you got it right, and you fucking jinxed yourself, man. Good God.
I sure did. Jurassic fuck.
Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and it was all of them. It was Jungle Boy doing it. You also, I'm pivoting for you. You also had Adam Page looked fantastic. He to me was the star of this match. He looked great. He had a triple moonsault from the same corner. Which was two men on the top of the rope, Adam Page and Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy going into the ring, Adam Page going to the outside, and then right off of the actual turnbuckles was Luchasaurus on the other side of the post from the apron doing a moonsault to the other side of the floor. So spots aplenty throughout this match for sure.
100%. So all right, it is that time for the main event.
Let's go.
Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Steel Cage.
Oh, and
before this match, I do want to say this. Mm-hmm. Before this match happened, I had legitimate concerns. It was not going to live up to the hype, and it was not going to come close to the Lights Out match.
I mean, to be fair, that's a high bar, and they probably dropped the Lights Out match at least half a dozen times while they were getting ready for it. I understand your trepidation. I certainly do.
And I think after watching this match, in my heart of hearts, I think it was just as good.
Okay.
If not potentially better because it counted.
Really?
And we got a new champion out of it. We got the payoff.
Okay. Oh, I mean, I'm with you there. The emotion was definitely more better. Jesus, JJ, learn how to speak English. The emotion was definitely there this time a lot more. I think that they did several things right with this match, knowing the match that they had last year. If they would have tried to replicate it, or like to you said, your trepidation, we got to go bigger. I think they would have killed somebody. Not really, but you know what I mean. It's like, and they didn't. They held back a good amount. They didn't have all the tables. They didn't have. It wasn't. It was bloody, and it was fierce, and it was also not nearly as much as it was last year. Where last year was just a flat out, just balls to the wall war, right? This didn't feel like that. It felt like the whole time there was much more gravitas with it.
Yeah, like they did a lot of retread of old spots from the Lights Out match, which I really appreciated.
The pile of chairs and then the tacks and
new wrinkles, like the person. Yeah, so the person who went through it last time didn't go through it this time. Like they kept doing that, where both of them got put in the tacks this time. Then that pile of chairs that Britt made and fell into was such a great spot. The thing too, that crowd was hot for this match, obviously because they're in the hometown of Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa.
Even so,
well, and
that crowd was
they started off for the entrances, came back from commercial. We're going right, so they dedicated the time for it, and it comes out there. You have an all-female mariachi band. Kills it, just goes to town for like a 2 minute thing, right? And then Thunder Rosa's anthem plays. She comes out, she got a Texas flag and the Mexican flag, a giant sombrero, and for the first time since she's been in AEW, billed as from the graveyards of Tijuana, Mexico, now residing in San Antonio, Texas. I mean, it was, I'm not gonna lie, there was a couple of moments where I got a little tear because I was just like, the emotion was bleeding through because that crowd was with her. 1,000% with her. Just like Pittsburgh was that very first Rampage behind Britt, they were there tonight for Thunder.
Yeah, that it was just top to bottom. This match had everything I wanted. Meltzer would give it a 3-star because it didn't happen in Japan, and it was with women because he's a misogynist. But anyway, just throwing that out there. But
you're not wrong.
This match, like hell, Britt wore gear to represent Scott Hall, and earlier, freaking Matt Hardy tried to go for a
Razor's Edge.
A Razor's Edge, like the homages were there, and this match had a lot of just great things, like the thumbtacks. Oh my god, like
I love me some thumbtacks.
Those women knew how to use those thumbtacks. And yeah, this is great. Like I don't know. So my thing with this, and this is where I really want to go with this now.
Okay.
What happens now?
Well, that's definitely where I want to go too, because and they pulled in a lot. Before we go to that, and before I answer that question, I want to make one other note about this, because AEW has been very smart in their cage matches. There's only been, 4 of them if you count Blood and Guts? Maybe 5. I mean, there was the original Cody versus Wardlow. There was Blood and Guts. There was the bonkers tag, Lucha Brothers Young Bucks at All Out last year. And this one. Am I missing one? Maybe there's one more that I'm missing. I don't know. But that feels like it, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's it.
So they don't have a lot of them, which is good, because when they happen, they're special. But all 4 of those, and I almost take Blood and Guts out. That's a special match, right? So take the 3 that happened. They're all very different matches, and I appreciate that. The first one was very much a traditional, like you would expect, old school cage match, right? Not a lot of outside weapons, very much a typical standard one. The one All Out was fucking insanity bottled up in a half an hour of madness. This one was very much that middle emotional payoff, so it's a different match. I really love that. They even brought in the part of Paul Turner was the referee, and he got super kicked accidentally. I mean, Thunder did move out of the way, but got super kicked accidentally by Britt Baker. Then there was another spot that happened where he gets hit again, goes out, and he's out of the ring. And, a couple pins are missed on both sides. And, Britt's young for a ref. And who comes out but somebody who she said was part of the conspiracy against her a year and a half ago? Aubrey Edwards. So, and they even had a little face-to-face, a little pushy-shovey thing going on, which is nice. So, I love all of that. But Thunder Rosa wins. Where do they go from here? It was your question. That's a great question, because I raised that as well when we talked about Revolution. If you give the belt to Thunder, what now? The obvious answer is, you got a rematch with Britt coming up. You got to come. She's not going to let the book close immediately, which, okay, fine, right? Which you don't want it to, give her one more shot, whatever, let it be, and then be done. But where do you move forward with that? My thought, I know this is predictable, but my thought leads to, ultimately, I'd like to see the feud go with her versus Ruby Soho. I think that Nyla Rose is an obvious choice, I don't know. I don't have the rankings in front of me. I don't know who ranks where or whatever. But you know, you can either have it come up and have her give her a sustained run, where she's just doing, you know, like the Darby Allin or Cody Rhodes thing, just knocking down all challengers, no matter who they are, right? Whoever's number 1 or number 2 on the, you get a Tay Conti, you get a shot. Anna Jay, you get a shot. The Bunny, you get a shot, right? You know, but I think that to really build it into a feud, I don't really know who else is there. And I say Ruby Soho, not just because, hey, Ruby, not just because I like Ruby Soho as a wrestler and a person, but they have that little stare down at the all-out women's battle royal when Ruby was the Joker, right? At the end, they were the last 2 involved. And we, of course, were giddy for that part of the match by far, but everyone else was. I think that's a good path to go. I don't think you have to make either one a heel either. You can be very much that sort of, you know, Rock Austin, you know, sort of mentality where they're just who they are, but they're fighting over the gold. What do you think? Where do you think, where would you like to see it, and where do you think it will? Do those things intersect? What are your thoughts, Jamie?
So I think the play is this. This is not the end of this feud.
Not right now. Not definitely right now.
Not for a while.
Do you think they might table it and come back? Is that what you're thinking?
I think either they table it or they get right into it and they keep going. Because one of the things too, like if you listen to Britt and you listen to Thunder, they're both very much students of the business, right?
Right.
And Britt had a lot of references in her gear and things like that to Scott Hall. And Thunder Rosa's been very vocal about her love and affection for one Shawn Michaels.
I mean,
I could see this culminating maybe a Double or Nothing, or even as far as All Out in a ladder match to end it all.
Okay.
Then we go away. But I could see it like Thunder's gonna get Hater, and like then there's gonna be some tag matches and stuff. Maybe it cools off for a little bit. Like maybe Britt's is gone for a hot minute.
I don't think that's a bad idea. I think Britt probably could use a break, maybe, you know, as well. And it did this. Remember, this has been a year since they had, and that was months in the making too. Like last year, St. Patrick's Day Slam. Lights Out match, that was months in the making as well. So I don't hate the idea of, if they're going to, because they're going to continue this one way or another, right? Either it's right away or they're going to come back to it. I like the idea of them coming back to it. And where does that put it in the short term? Maybe nowhere. Maybe she doesn't have a direct competitor. She puts the title up a few times here and there. Maybe she does a little run. Maybe she does a little like roundabout with Ruby, or maybe she has like a Nyla Rose thing for like a month or so, you know. But maybe they just build up the rest of the division, right? You know, they've been having a lot of these like I know Ruby and Nyla, the Bunny and Penelope and Diamante doing a lot. They're pretty much every week on Dark and Dark Elevation, right? So they're getting lots of reps in, lots of faces on there without being on the main show every week. I would like to see them kind of investigate more of that. What they do with Statlander taking her makeup off? Is she changing personas? Sheeta and Deeb is going to play into something somewhere, right? And you've got Jade Cargill seemingly opponentless or, feudless with anybody as well. You're not wrong there. I don't think you're wrong at all. I also could see Mia Yim being that person. But either way, maybe both of them against her, which is cool. But I think I think that after us talking it over, in my mind, the smartest thing to do, step away from it for at least a month, right? Or a little bit of time. Step away from it, Britt needs a break. Britt gets a break, right? Thunder Rosa needs a week or two off. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I mean,
she's been getting beat up this past month, physically. So she needs to get like a 2-day long ice bath and some massages and extra carne asada tacos. So, let's rest them up, but separate them a little bit because you're going to come back to it because that's your payoff, I think. And I like your idea of All Out. I think that to me makes more sense because you can break them apart.
First ever women's ladder match. Yes.
All Out is All Out's the marquee pay-per-view of the year. But it also, that to me feels like the right timing. You're talking about September now. So you're talking about 6 months from now. So you step away from this from a couple months and you can kind of have it kind of come back in and, slowly just get a little bit more until you're full back into it. And I'm good with that. We shall see. But we do have a new women's champion. Every time they get a new belt, they get a new women's champion.
And this belt actually looks good.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, the last one was just a grown-up version of the baby belt, and this one actually looks solid. Like I'm really happy with this one.
This one's very good. I'm surprised there's no nameplate, but it is what it is. That's not the biggest thing. Well, that's what we got. So good week of wrestling. Like I said, lots of stuff is kind of gearing up for that late March, early April, WrestleMania week, all sorts of things. April is funny because as soon as WrestleMania finishes up, it just keeps going. Like April is a bonkers month wrestling wise. Locally for us, we have DWF. Did you buy your tickets yet?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. We got DWF coming up here. Jamie's taking his 7-year-old daughter to her first wrestling show.
Really excited.
Let's go. Let's go. I'll try and not cuss too much.
I'll try not to cuss too much.
But we got DWF. We got Journey Pro's grand opening in their brand new to them facility, which you've been following them on Twitter. You've seen them put up videos of the training that's going on. But we got 2-night openings. The 28th, 29th, we will have a Journey Pro heavyweight champion crowned at the end of the 29th. There will be a champion in Journey Pro. Plus, if you want to learn wrestling, you're in and around or near Kansas City, you want to learn from some of the best that we have in the Midwest here, Hoodie and Moonshine, come on down, go to Journey Pro KC, get more information about the wrestling school. It's well worth it. Both guys know what they're doing. It's going to be a fantastic resource. So we got that coming up. We got Pro Wrestling Revolver. We're taking a group of people to where I get to see Ruby Soho live.
I'm excited about that too.
That whole show is going to be great. And give us a stay with us. We got lots of great things coming up here. Like I said, we got an interview we're going to be releasing this coming Tuesday. You guys definitely want to check that out here, especially if you like things called right down the middle. I think it's a very good interview for those who like things right down the middle, just like they should be, right?
That or you like big dicks.
Either way. And if you have no idea what we're talking about and how do those two things come together, just listen to us on Tuesday. You'll get it. Trust me, it's going to be there. We'll be back next Thursday. Fallout from St. Patty's Day Slam and the preview of Battle for the Belts 2. What the fuck does that even mean? Who knows, right? But lots of great stuff going on here. Hope all your brackets thus far look wonderful. Unless you're in the pool against me, then I hope they suck. And we will revisit them, those definitely. But we'll be back with you guys next Thursday for sure. So, Jamie, anything else before we head on out of here?
No. This was good. Big E get better too. We forgot to say something about Big E.
Oh yeah, he went home, right? He got out of the hospital.
Yeah. Hopefully,
big up. Hopefully that's what I read. I read that some doctor, and I don't think it was one of his doctors, but some doctors said they were looking at it and they're like, it doesn't look good, which I've heard Woods talk about this in the past. That's a lot of reason why he's devoting more. I mean, he's been injured too, but he's been devoting as much time as he can to the whole G4 stuff. He's been a lot more involved with that, especially because Up, Down, Down's been kind of pulled away from him, and he's not happy with that. No matter what he says, he's thinking outside of wrestling, and I hope to God Big E will. It's important that he's healthy and he's good. He's from everybody that's ever met him or we've ever talked to, people that have known him, he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Big old teddy bear of a man, right? So, big ups, Biggie. We hope you get better. All right. Well, that's all we got. We'll be back next week. Jamie, take us home.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not down Total Spot Fest, I have 7 words for you.
I was so close.
Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
See you next time, guys.
Peace.